You have clicked on this video because you want to quit your 9 to 5 and move to Thailand, but you have no idea how to do it. The good news is that you've clicked on the right video, because I am a guy who has been in your situation. This time last year, I was in a 9 to 5 job. I used to watch reels on my break at dinner, and I used to be like, wow, I wish I could be living that life. In this video, I'm gonna explain exactly how to actually, practical, actionable steps of how you can actually quit your 9 to 5 job and move to Thailand, because right now it's probably thinking that it's just not possible, but don't worry, in this video I'm gonna explain exactly how I did it. First and foremost, for people who do not know who I am, obviously just look at the chapters. If you know who I am already, look at the chapters and you can skip to whichever step you want to. But what I'm gonna do to start with is just talk about my story. But before that, make sure you subscribe. Check out all the videos. If you like Thailand, Muay Thai, check the videos that I have. Every comment is really appreciated. I do get a lot of love on the YouTube, which is pretty cool. Let's talk about my story. I don't want to make it all about me. I was in England. Since I finished college, I always took the safe option. I went into a full-time job, sales, earned a lot of money. I got comfortable, and I was like that. I never went to university because university is a scam, let's be honest. But let's not get into that. Let's not get into that. But I never went to university. I always saved money, and what I was saving for was a mortgage in my eyes, because you get told that is the safe route, that's the good route. But times have changed. Buying a house nowadays is not going to make you rich long term. And this was a mindset shift that got brought up to me by my uncle, and I always tell it. He explained, if you buy a mortgage, you're locked into that location for the rest of your life, really. Unless you sell it. I know you can sell it, blah, blah, blah. But I had this realization that I was like, crap, so what do I do then? And he told me to travel. And I was like, right, okay, traveling, I guess I could do, because, the whole world is this big and your hometown is this big. And if you actually, I did acknowledge this, is that if you pay for a mortgage, you don't own that house till 4 years down the line. So if I paid for a mortgage and I saved up and my hometown, I'm just locked into my hometown for the rest of my life. And it wasn't until my brother lives in Vietnam, and he had a wedding October 2023, and I had this Vietnam holiday booked for a while, and I had no idea what to think of this side of the world, Vietnam. I had a lot of misconceptions. I remember asking him, if I go around with a watch on as an English person, am I going to be targeted? Am I going to feel very unsafe? I can't lie, these were genuine concerns that I had as a 22-year-old thinking about Vietnam and Thailand and this side of the world. I really thought that it was a third world country, that I would feel really unsafe, that it's not a horrible place, but very unsafe and dangerous, until I went on that holiday. That holiday changed my whole life. Without going there and experiencing Vietnam for the first time, and what I experienced was like unbelievable, bro. Like unbelievable. Like, how cheap everything was a very big shock. You know it's going to be cheap even before you go there, but when you see it in person, the exact things that you pay for in England, you go to this side of the world and you see how cheap it is. You can go out for food every night and not be... In fact, let's show you. Follow me. Guys, follow me. This is a pad kapow meal that I've just paid for on Grab, and it's been delivered to me. And it cost me like £2.50 for it to be delivered. And this is just one of the benefits, obviously. After you come accustomed to it for so long, you kind of take it for granted. I went on this holiday in October 2023, and I was awakened to how this side of the world is so much more safer, so much more cheaper, so much more fulfilling. There's so much more of a sense of community. Everyone's so much more positive. Although people don't have everything, they have each other. I was in a sales job that was very comfortable last year, and I have been comfortable for many years, and I always took the comfortable route in everything, until I realized, experiencing Vietnam for 2 weeks and seeing how much of the world there is on this side of the world that I haven't explored yet, I knew I had to quit that 9 to 5 job. I had to make an exit route of booking a one-way flight, and that's exactly what I did. I made a plan. This is what the video is all about, really. I just wanted to explain that, because I've always been a comfortable person, took the comfortable route, was going to buy a mortgage, but I was awakened by that 2-week holiday. And if it wasn't for that 2-week holiday, who knows? I could just be locked into that 9 to 5 job right now, still there stressing about the same targets that I don't care about. And I took that risk, I took that thing, and now I'm here living my dream life in Thailand, and I'm training Muay Thai, learning to fight, earning money remotely. It is so possible for anyone to do it, but I just feel people either have misconceptions the same way I did, or they just don't believe it's possible. Because if I was in that situation, there's gonna be someone else who's gonna be living in that same situation, which is why I make these sort of videos, to inspire and to tell you that it is possible. So the first step is you have got to set goals. I mean, actually set a financial goal and actually book that one-way flight. Without booking your flight, it doesn't become a reality. It just becomes a vision that's a made-up fantasy. Your dreams mean fuck all without taking action. And you know, you could talk about, yeah, you wanted to move to Thailand, you want to go to this side of the world and explore it, but if you don't book that one-way flight, nothing's gonna happen. It's just gonna be a dream, it's gonna be a fantasy. Because I have so many friends who have said this, of like, oh, I wanna come to this side of the world. It's like, yeah, book your flight then. Right, I'll do it next week. And next week, you know, they don't do it, they never do it. There's some sort of excuse, and it's like, it's the exact same thing with anything. If you do not take action and book that flight, nothing will ever happen. So you need to book that flight, even if it's in a year in advance. I always recommend booking it in a year in advance. If you're from the UK, try and book it for like October time when it gets dark and miserable. Because, you know, the UK is actually probably tolerable during the summer. So book it, usually book it, like right now it's perfect. You can even book it, ideally you want to be leaving like next month in October. Like for me, what I did is I booked it for the year in advance, and I was like, if I save £1,000 every month, you know, regardless of, you know, what other expenses I have, I save £1,000 every month and live the rest of my life like poverty. That is going to set me a clear goal of like £12,000, £12,000 plus selling everything is going to get me a certain amount of gold, and that is going to last me a certain amount of time in Thailand. That's going to give me enough time in Thailand to figure out a plan of how to make money, how to then get fitter and explore, etc. And it's like, you've got to set that clear goal. And some really good tips that I'm going to give right now in terms of how to save money and how to actually stick to it, because you have got to be financially disciplined. That's what a lot of people don't do. And the more financially disciplined you are before the flight, it's going to make you last longer in Thailand. It's going to make you less stressed. You want to be operating from a state of calmness rather than a state of urgency where you're having to be, you know, when you're in Thailand, your money's running out because you weren't financially disciplined, and you're stressing, oh, what am I gonna do? How do I make money? I've got to get a job now. And, you know, you don't want to be operating from that sort of thing. You want to go there, enjoy your time, explore the places that you want to see all the elephants, see everything. And then after that, once you've explored everywhere, then you can make a plan of how you're gonna make money, how you're gonna live in Thailand long term. That's what I did. And it worked a treat, because, you know, you have the time to see the elephants, to see all the temples, to see everything that you've not seen, to travel around Chiang Mai, travel to all the islands, island hop. That's what you want to be doing. And then after it, you want to be then figuring out a plan of like, right, how do I make money? How do I make this a long-term thing? The more financially disciplined that you are before you get on that flight to Thailand, the better. First thing is you've got to say no to things. So people are going to be wanting you to go out on nights out. People are going to want you to go to all these fancy restaurants in Manchester or London, wherever you're from. But realistically, if you're going to like these meals in Manchester and you're paying like £50, that £50, this pad krapao cost me like, you can get a pad krapao, a Thai meal, for about 50, 60 baht, which is about £1.50. So you've got to look at that and be like, right, if I said no to this night out and I just stayed in and went to the gym instead, that's going to last you so much longer in Thailand. You've got to say no to things, whether it's nights out, going for meals, and you don't want to be too restrictive and stuff like that, but you can socialise with your friends in other ways that isn't just going out and drinking. If you only socialise with your friends when you drink, you've got to analyse that relationship and be like, you know, are they really your friends? What I did, you know, you go out on walks. There are ways you can save money and still socialise with your friends and go out, even going for a coffee, going to each other's house, having a few drinks instead. Instead of going out drinking, just have a few drinks inside, you know, with your friends. Have a quiz night, I don't know, you know, be creative. You can still be socialised with your friends and not feel the need to go out and drink and spend all your money. Because especially in England, I've been there, you know, you go out and, you know, you get pissed, and then before you know it, you're buying shots for a fucking random guy at the bar who you've just met 2 minutes ago. Then all of a sudden, his mates are there and you're like, you know what, I'm gonna fucking spend. You know what, it's contactless anyway, it doesn't even mean anything when you're contactless. And then before you know it, you got home at 6 AM, you wake up the next day at 4 PM, you look at your bank statement and you think, fuck, where did all this money go? Then you have these flashbacks of buying that fucking random guy and all his mates shots at the bar. And you think, fuck, why did I do that? I've got Thailand next year. And this can all be avoided by saying no to things and being financially disciplined. But We've all been there, surely. We have all been there where you go out after a night out, you fucking spent shitloads, and it all comes from alcohol. And that when you drink alcohol, you then the next day you want to eat shit, which means you go through that drive-through KFC at 10 a.m. Done that many times, and God, you know, no one eats a KFC at 10 a.m. not hungover, drinking alcohol. But you've got to set a clear goal and be financially disciplined and stick to that goal. Another tip, what you need to do is you need to look at every expense that you have. You've got to make sure that when you get on that flight to Thailand, that you have no expenses that you have to pay for. So what I'm talking about is things like phone contracts, direct debits, your car finance. You've got to really think of like you've got to analyze your monthly payments that you've got out, and you've got to try and restrict that to zero by the time you go to Thailand, because that will help massively when you're out. You don't want to be in Thailand spending £150 on your Xbox, on an Xbox that you purchased or something, I don't know, or a phone, but you don't want to be buying a new phone before you go to Thailand and then you're spending it off, because it just eats into your savings. Be financially disciplined, keep your expenses as low as possible in your monthly direct debits before you go on the flight, and you've got to say no to things. Things like meal prepping for work saved me a lot of money. So don't buy anything else. One big mistake that I've seen people do is that, you know, before they go to Thailand, they buy all these new clothes and they buy all these new gear and all these new things. But trust me, you do not need to buy anything. Everything, most things that I've got on me right now, I've purchased whilst I've been traveling. Obviously this vest, I've got these things, and they're so much more cheaper as well. Like Vietnam and Thailand, that is where brands like Nike and Adidas, that's where they make their clothes, in Bangladesh, in these nearby countries. So you're getting like basically the real stuff for a fraction of the cost. And they sell stylish shirts at the markets, they sell stuff. So I really wouldn't purchase any like new things, like any new clothes before you come to Thailand or Vietnam. That's another like good money saving tip. That's the number one thing in terms of actually moving to this side of the world and quitting your 9 to 5 is the financial side. Be financially disciplined, sell stuff that you don't use, save money extensively, say no to things, and just think of ways, even if it's just like, if I went on a walk, I just bring a flask out with coffee and stuff like that. Or, you know, like you get called a stingy, the amount of times I got called a stingy person, and now it's like, you know, I'm out in Thailand now, not being stingy, living the good life. Living life, you know, not worrying about things because I was stingy. So if you want to be, you know, if all it takes is just to be called a stingy person in the moment for you to live your dream life after, it's a cost that is worth taking. You know, many times I've been called a stingy person, or sometimes like I go out on nights out and I bring my own alcohol, and it's like, yeah, you call it stingy, I'm not arsed. Like you go out and pay fucking £9 for a Jack Daniels and Diet Coke. You do that. I'll just bring out my own whiskey and. I used to do that, but it's these sort of money saving tips, they do add up. I'm a big person, especially in England. In England, where the cost of living is sky high, it's crazy. It all adds up. All adds up. You know, if you keep your expenses really low every month, you then say no to these nights out and drinking alcohol. You say, you know, you go on like hikes with your friends, or you bring your own alcohol out. It really does add up. It really does add up. You know, it compounds and it lasts so much longer in Thailand, and I'm so thankful that I was, you know, you get sometimes look back, I'm like, maybe I was too stingy on that occasion, but it is what it is. Right, so that was step one. That was, you know, actually saving the money and being financially disciplined. Hopefully I've got that in your head. Hopefully you can fucking just book that flight for like a month, a year's time, because as soon as you book that flight, that's when the vision becomes a reality. That's when every penny saved matters, and every expense that you save matters. And every time you're at work, even though you don't want to go to work, you're thinking in the back of your head, this money I'm earning is going to be spent in Thailand or Vietnam. Right, the next step, if you actually want to move to Thailand, you've got to think of visas, right? So as soon as you get there, you might not need a visa because you've got the tourist visa. But if you actually want to live there long term, you've got to consider, I've done a whole video on it, but you've got to really consider the destination Thailand visa. You've got to have 500,000 baht in your account to actually apply for it. But like, that's a perfect goal in my opinion. It's about £11,000. That's the perfect goal. You prove that you've got £11,000 in your bank and you've got a remote income, or if you just sign up to a Muay Thai course, which I've explained on a different video, you can then live in Thailand 6 months at a time, earn money remotely from a company that isn't Thailand. It's the perfect golden ticket. I've explained it on a different video. If you check on my videos now, go to the Destination Thailand visa. It's part of my Thailand Blueprint course, which is in the description. If you actually want like a really step-by-step guide on how to get remote work, you check that link in the description. That would really help you live your dream life in Thailand, you know, and actually get a job, earn money remotely. But yeah, in terms of the visa itself, the Destination Thailand visa is your golden ticket at the moment, and you've really got to consider it because it might not be there forever, because it is so good. I've explained it in the video, you know, it allows you to work remotely from Thailand, stay in Thailand 6 months at a time, legally. It's a legal visa, it means you'll be there, it means you can actually just say fuck off to the UK or wherever you're from. Thank you very much. I'd rather be over here with a positive group of people, away from the negativity, away from all the illegal immigration that's going on and all the noise and all the stress that, you know, that I had to endure this time last year. Generally, especially if you're awakened to what's going on in England, it's not a place that you know it's not going to improve and stuff. So, but yeah, visas is important. Destination Thailand visa, if you can get that before you move, you know, it gives you the freedom to know that, yeah, I'm legally allowed to stay here now 6 months at a time. Check the video out that I've made about it. That goes into detail on how to apply and what you need to do. But it's the perfect golden ticket for you at the moment. Step 3, which would be about finding a place in Thailand. So how do you actually get accommodation booked? So the way I booked this place, I've got a nice little place now. Got a little bed there. You know, it's amazing. Cost me like 10,000 baht a month, which is about 250 quid a month. And I've got a coconut tree and a pool outside. But yeah, it's attainable to anyone, that's the thing. But yeah, in terms of how to actually find accommodation, best place is a place called DD Property. If you type that in Google, DD Property is a good place. Facebook Marketplace, surprisingly, is a very good place to find accommodation. It does take a little bit of to and fro-in, so messaging to and forward, like to know what to find. Check this, coconut water from 7-Eleven. Yeah, you've got to message the people direct and organise a price and stuff like that. As long as they don't ask for payment straight away, usually that's a red flag, just to be careful. But yeah, Facebook Marketplace is a very good place to look. You know, messaging agencies is also very good, like legitimate ones. It's very simple to do. Message them, they'll send you pictures, and you just got to negotiate. The other thing is there is a bit of legwork involved, but it is what it is. Like, it's part of the journey in my eyes. If I can do it, anyone else can do it, because I'm not really that good when it comes to this stuff, and I've managed to sort it out. So if I can do it, you can too. Facebook Marketplace, DD Property. You can even have a look on Airbnb, you know, if you really like, and negotiate a price with them. But if you go to an agency as well, just type in agency, and you've got to decide as well which area of Thailand you want to live in. You've got the islands. The thing is, the beautiful thing about Thailand is that if you get the DTV, you can live anywhere in Thailand. You've got the freedom to move as well. Like, you've got Chiang Mai, Bangkok, you've got all the islands. You know, it depends what sort of person that you are. Me, I'm from England. I wanted a place where there's a beach, so that's where I've stayed. So yeah, so that's where you find accommodation, but you've also got to choose which location you actually want to live. That's why I recommend always, if you can save up enough money, travel everywhere first, and then you just decide, right, I'm going to stay there for like a month. Because if you stay for a month, it's cheaper accommodation. You stay for 30 days. But you also want to explore Thailand. You don't want to just go straight to Thailand, settle down, in my opinion. You might want to, you might have already been to Thailand. It depends on your circumstance. Travel all the way around, then you decide which location, which place could I actually live. So yeah, that's that. And the final one, so the final step is remote work. What I would recommend, obviously if you get the DTV, you're allowed to work remotely. And in terms of remote work, it's completely down to you. The beautiful thing is that if you're in Thailand and you've got money saved up, you have time to figure all this out from a place of calmness and a place of strategy of, right, how do I want to earn money? Do I want to work for a company? If so, you can do. There are websites like Indeed and LinkedIn. And if you can filter it down to just remote work only jobs, appointment setting, whether it's customer service, whether it is sales, you know, you're legally allowed to work from a company from the UK and live in Thailand and work from Thailand. So you can earn a UK wage, live in Thailand, spend Thai baht, be around Thai people who are a lot more friendly than English people. You know, you're in such a better environment. So you're in the best environment, but you're also earning more money from working from an English company. So you could do that way full time, or if you want, you can try and figure out a way how to make money online. Investments, crypto, you know, you have time to actually learn these things though. Like, you know, you've got all this time in the world, you know, you can learn how to make money online so much easier here because you're operating from a place of strategy of yeah, I'm not rushing into things. Let me figure it out. You can learn how to make money. You can pay for mentorships. You can learn how to do drop shipping. There are so many ways you can make money online these days, and it is down to you of how you actually want to operate. Or the easy way is you just find a job and work remotely, and it's just the same way you apply for any job. But on LinkedIn, there is LinkedIn and Indeed. They have literally sections on it. They have filters on their website which click remote only, and then it's just down to you to apply for the jobs, make the good CV, and smash your interview. If you need help with any of that side of things in terms of like actually finding remote work, if you check the description now and check the Thailand blueprint that I made, I teach everything in that regard in terms of how to actually make the perfect CV, how to apply for jobs, how to actually speak on the phone, how to smash your interview, etc. If you just check the link, it will explain exactly. There's that as well, but there's also everything about overcoming your limiting beliefs and booking your flight, more tips and tricks about everything about Thailand and when you're on the road in Thailand, how to flourish and thrive. So yeah, please check that out because it can generally really help. And yeah, that's everything. That is really, book it. And in terms of booking your flight, like that is the easiest bit. Obviously, I'm assuming you know how to do that, which is go on Skyscanner. But to summarize, like by the time that you hand in your notice, you would have saved up enough money, kept your direct debits and your expenses. Hopefully that's all gone, so you've got no overheads or anything like that, and you're not paying for anything when you go to Thailand. So by the time you hand in your notice, hopefully you've handed it in after you've been paid as well. That's the best thing you can do as well. As soon as you get paid, that's when you hand in your notice. The last payday. Don't let them take or deduct any wages from you. Which, that's happened to one of my friends. So yeah, don't operate, you've got to be selfish, you got to fucking hand in your notice as soon as you get paid. And yeah, it's one of the best feelings. I remember driving out of the multi-car parks after I handed in my notice, and it was one of the best feelings I've ever had. Now it's time for you to do the exact same journey that I've been on. Because I'm here in Thailand, and just check my YouTube videos. I'm living the life, like, it's so amazing, but it is possible for anyone. That's what I want to get through to you. This isn't just like me showing off. This is me showing the light and trying to inspire you to live the same growth that I've had. And because when you're in Thailand, you can actually dial in on everything that you've ever wanted to. You can reinvent yourself as a new person, learning to fight. I'm doing YouTube videos now. I'm doing whatever I actually want. And it's not like I don't care, but it's like, you know what? The world is so big. Why do you care what anyone thinks in your hometown? And it gives you that real freedom and that belief you can really do anything here, because you can. The world's your oyster, the world's your canvas, and you're the artist. And I'm being a cringy guy, so I'm going to finish the video before saying anything else too cringe. But hopefully that has helped you in some sort of way in terms of being financially disciplined and actually understanding, if I set a goal of £1,000 a month, or you work out what your expenses are, you say no to your friends when they go on nights out, and you just dial in and be disciplined. And yeah, your dreams and everything that you ever want is possible if you take action. You only have one life. You've got to do it, in my opinion. You've got to do it. You can't just stay in your hometown for the rest of your life and pay for a mortgage. Don't fall into that trap. Luckily, I didn't fall into it, but I nearly did. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. And yeah, let's share the love. And hopefully I'll see you out in Thailand. Much love.